I'm Andrew the New Guy, and today in gameranx we're here to talk about 5 smaller yet awesome games from May 2017 that you should check out. Starting off at number 5, we have TumbleSeed, which is a roguelike game where you play as a seed. I know that doesn't really sell it too well, but the game is actually surprisingly hard. You don't expect it because of the way it looks. It kind of looks like a bright, colorful kids game. So the core gameplay here is a balancing act. You're working your way up a mountain using the 2 thumbsticks to balance your seed and guide it through different obstacles and enemies. It kind of plays like the game where you're trying to guide that little metal ball through like the board and there's like little holes everywhere. It kind of plays exactly like that. There's also around 30 different power-ups throughout the game that you can get, with some being offensive so you can take on enemies instead of avoiding them. But like I said before, this game is really hard, at least really hard for me. I like hard games and this one really kicked my ass. Next up at number 4, we have Seasons After Fall, which is a 2D side-scrolling platform game that's already out on PC, but it's out for Xbox One and PS4 this month. You play as a fox who must travel through a mysterious forest in order to rescue the lost spirits of the 4 seasons. And as you rescue these spirits, you'll gain the ability to change the seasons at will. You'll change the seasons to help solve puzzles and progress through the forest. Changing seasons will change the environment and how you can interact with it. For example, changing the summer will cause certain plants to grow and extend, opening up a different part of the forest, or maybe acting as a sort of bridge. And changing to spring will cause the water levels to rise, and changing to winter can cause waterfalls to freeze over. So you'll be constantly switching between seasons to progress through the game, and every time you do switch them, it changes how the game looks. 2 things you notice right away about this game is the music and how the game looks. Developers had a string quartet come in and record the original composition for the game, and as you switch seasons, the music and mood changes with it, and all the music sounds perfect for the way the game looks. The game has beautiful hand-painted graphics, and it looks like something straight out of a storybook. It's a very happy-go-lucky game. The fox that you play as actually can't die, and the game isn't super hard. It's more of a nice, calm, laid-back experience. So if you're looking to just chill out and have a nice, not aggravating time with a video game, this is definitely one to check out. And coming in at number 3, we have Tokyo 42, which is an open world shooter with an awesome isometric view. It takes place in the future Tokyo, obviously, and you play as someone who was framed for a murder that you had no part of, and it forces you to become an assassin. And let's not beat around the bush here, this game stands out so much. Visually, this game is beautiful. The colors and the layout of the city is perfect. It has twin shooter-like controls, but I wouldn't consider this a twin-stick shooter, and once you figure out exactly how the combat works, it controls really well, and when things get really hectic and you're dodging bullets and taking out enemies, you feel and look really cool while doing it. The developers consider this the love child of GTA 1 and Syndicate, and I must say that it does live up to that statement. And did I mention that I love the way this game looks? I can't get over these visuals. And next, number 2, we have Dead Cells, which is a Metroidvania roguelite 2D action platformer game with Souls-like combat. It is an early access game on Steam, and yeah, I know it means it's incomplete and might not be worth the money, but Dead Cells shouldn't be looked at negatively because it's in early access. It's definitely worth looking into. As of right now, there isn't a story, maybe that comes later, but the point of the game is to collect as many cells as you can to help stop your decomposing body. Oh, and you play as a dude who's running around with no head. That's a thing. So the way the game works is you spawn into the level and you try to get as far as you can without dying, while collecting power-ups, weapons, cells, armor, etc. If you get to the end of that section, you get the opportunity to spend those cells on power-ups and items. But if you die before you reach the end of that section, you lose all those cells and any other weapon, armor, and other items that you have. So yeah, like other roguelike or roguelite games, whatever you call them, you're gonna die a lot and you're gonna go through a ton of different runs. But it's super addicting, and while dying does suck, you get over it very quick and you just want to jump right back in and probably die like 100 more times. Each level is also procedurally generated with different hand-designed sections, so you always get a different order of sections to run through, and the enemy placement is also changed with each run as well. This is definitely a game to check out if you're into rogue and Souls-like games and are looking for something challenging to play. And finally, at number 1, we have Rime, which is the newest game from Tequila Works, who also developed Deadlight, which is an awesome game. You should play it. It's a single-player puzzle adventure game where you play as a boy who wakes up on a strange island after a storm. You'll be solving all different kinds of puzzles while working your way towards the peak of the tower on the island. And just like with Tokyo 42, the way this game looks really stands out. It actually has a very similar art style to Breath of the Wild, and I'm sure we can all agree that that game just looks really pretty. And while the game isn't necessarily open world, you do have the option to explore the island at your own pace. There really isn't much else known about the story, but there are collectibles spread out across the island that reveal a bit about the boy boy's backstory. There's also no combat whatsoever in Rime. There's no attack button, so this is strictly a puzzle game, kind of like a third-person version of The Witness. Personally, I've been excited to play this game since it was announced, and I'm hyped that it's finally here. So those are 5 awesome yet smaller games that came out in May 2017, but we want to hear from you guys. Meet us down in the comments, let us know if you've played any of these games, and if there's some smaller games that we didn't mention, let us know. Also, hitting that like button really helps us out, and if you're new here for some reason, we put up videos like this every single day, and the best way to get them is with a subscription to the channel. Once again, I'm Andrew the New Guy, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanx.